Welcome back to the second part of our very exciting episode today. We are hosting Elmi, who has had a very prolific story thus far, ranging from sleeping rough in London all the way out here to what he's doing now, documentaries and so on. If you are coming to the second part and haven't watched part one, we highly recommend that you go to part one and check it out, because then you can also get to see Linda talk about her Fendi stuff.
Here we go.
In case you're wondering whether it's original or not.
Excuse me? You know who I am.
Yeah, go back to part one. However, in continuing the story, Elmi, we had left off on the part where you recently coming back, like current affairs are, you are recently coming back from Africa.
Yeah.
You went and filmed several sort of documentary pieces which are building into one documentary, and you went through quite a number of countries.
Sure.
So talk us through that. And then obviously I being Nugget Junction, we can already assume that you went and met, or you discovered, or as a result of being in those countries and the stories that you experienced and the stories you're telling in the documentary, that there are nuggets along the way.
Of course.
So if you could walk us through the many countries, the 5, I think it was. How many countries was that?
So I visited about 6 of them.
6.
Yeah.
So walk us through the countries. Tell us a brief story about what story you're telling in each country. And of course, for the purpose of our viewers and listeners, a few nuggets along the way as you were going.
Yeah,
so the backstory...
To me, I would also want to know the reasoning behind it. How did you come up with this idea?
Yeah.
I've always been interested with tapping into people's brains
Yeah.
as to why they do what they do.
So the backstory of this is I applied for a position to do a contracting job with the DW.
Nice.
And
DW
Deutsche
viewers
Wort.
would be
Deutsche Welle. Yeah, and
Dutch World in English.
and Deutsche Welle in German.
In pronunciation.
The German,
It's a German production.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and they've been doing fantastic work in not only in Africa but all over the world.
Their documentaries are pretty good.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I thought it would be great for me, since I'm kind of like moving away from my organization at Roots TV by the end of the year. I thought that would be a very good shift for me to go back into what I'm really passionate also about, which is storytelling. And I put a proposal to them about some of the direction and the story that I would love to project in Africa. And they loved the story, and they commissioned me to do the project. And so I met a group of producers who came with me also, and we presented some stories from Kenya, from Tanzania, Uganda. We're supposed to go even to Kano in Nigeria. It just didn't capitalize. But
you wouldn't be back here if you had gone to Kano.
See, that's the kind of stigma that we're trying to defeat.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, and exactly. I know that stereotype about what you say.
What I'm trying to say, before you stereotype, what I'm trying to say is
it is.
you'd still be in Nigeria. You wouldn't be here now had you continued with the...
Anyway, that's what we're trying to move away from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he has been warned about this, stigmatism.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
In this couch.
So
thank you.
Says the Nigerian.
Yeah. So I recently just came from 2 weeks ago. I just came from Africa, and one of the most interesting stories that I could share with you is I was flying from one country to another country. I don't want to mention the name of it, but what I found is so interesting is on the plane that I flew from Dubai, from that country to Dubai, is there was about 10 young boys who came with a fake passport to leave that country. Yeah. And I had a chat with them, and the frustration about it is saying, there's no hope, there is no opportunity for us, which is quite ironic when I was in that country.
Exactly.
All you could see was opportunity.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, when I was there, obviously when I used to go to Africa a lot of time, I used to wear the negative lenses, saying, oh man, look at the roads, look at the lack of regulation. But this time I went there with an open-minded. I said, you know what? I know it's always going to be a challenge in Africa, but what is it? What can I do to change it? If I make a difference in a small capacity, I think that is achievement for me.
Yes.
And this is really the direction I went. So when I had a chat with them, they said to me, Elmi, can I get a job? I'm only 21 years old. And everything they were saying to me kind of like resonated a lot with me. But when I was there, I saw there's a lot of opportunities for younger people. Yes, there is a lot of challenges. Yes, there is a challenge that we could face, but it kind of like break my heart to see And if the backbone of the community leaves, which is the youth,
Yes.
that country is doomed.
Wow.
If that backbone, and the backbone is the youth, why are we investing our time and energy?
On the youth, definitely.
Yeah, and sadly, there's a lack of support there, and that I've seen it. Also, another story that when I was in Tanzania, I met a lot of YouTubers in Tanzania, and we're doing a documentaries about free speech in Tanzania there.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, there's one of them who has got a lot of followers, but he said to me, one thing we struggle in Tanzania is the free speech. Do you know in Tanzania that for you to have a YouTube channel, the government have to they introduce legislation, so you have to pay money for you to have a free YouTube just to control you, and you control the narratives. So they were talking about the struggle for them.
Yeah.
These guys are storytellers.
Yeah.
So they don't belong to any party.
What sort of story? So if government regulation for free YouTube is an issue, right?
It's a huge issue.
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, it's free. What sort of stories would the government, from your experience, just coming back, what kind of stories would they not be able to put on that platform that you indulged in? If that you were,
for example, one of them, he want to highlight the trouble of young kids working in begging in the street.
Begging?
Yeah, begging in the street. And his video was shut down 3 times because what he done, he interviewed the young people in the street, saying to them, this is tell me about your story. And his video was shut down by YouTube. I don't know, obviously. And they provoke his license. So these guys are like young journalists. They don't have their agenda is just really to highlight story.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they don't have a platform.
Yeah. And I met a lot of journalists there. They're earning about $150 a month. Working for a media platform that do not control. So they have no control of the narratives.
Yes.
So, and they're telling them to go and tell a story about a big mining company, or this mining company could crush this young person because he's earning $150. Do you think he's going to be motivated to go and produce content? His life will be on threat. So there's no protection for free speech, sadly, in some of those countries that I visited. But there are some of them. They're still moving away from it. But Africa has been very fascinating for me.
By the way, do tell us about that. So when was the last time you were in Africa compared to...
2018, I was there.
2018, and then obviously you've just returned.
I just returned.
Long ago. So you were there, sorry?
BC.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
BC.
Before COVID.
Yeah, before COVID. Yeah.
So, is that a thing now?
Yeah.
Before COVID.
Because now
so
he's back in AC.
In AC now.
Are you after COVID?
After COVID.
Yeah.
Are you seeing the difference in when you were there in 2018 to
I
now?
saw the diaspora capacity are big now in Africa.
Yes.
I could talk, for example, in Somaliland. I've seen big migration from people from the diaspora building infrastructure, opening businesses.
So they're returning.
They're returning big time.
Back
And
home.
we're talking about 30 years old man, 30 years old woman, young people.
That's it.
They saw an opportunity there, and I saw the way they're trading businesses with Addis Ababa and Nairobi, and
so they're going. So ideally, what I'm hearing is they're going against the sort of cultural norms,
exactly,
or the old cultural constructs, which would say, we don't trade with those people, or we don't do that. So they come in, and they're able to make those links because they're not sort of,
for the first time. First time they moved away from that stigma of saying, there's nothing there for you, for Africa.
Yes.
And these people are investing money. They're investing their youth energy to, saying, I know there's a lack of regulation there, but I could do something about it.
Yes.
And I was there I remember I was there in Somaliland for 2 weeks. And I've just opened a couple...
You keep calling it Somaliland.
Okay.
On my atlas and my world map, it's called Somalia.
Well, I think probably you need to update that map.
Because I can Google it now.
Isn't it?
Let's Google.
Apparently
Professor Google is like up to date.
Yeah, maybe you could do that after...
that's the problem that we have in Africa. We're still dividing ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need
Is that the floating mic working?
It's working, obviously.
For the listeners and the viewers, also Elmi got stumped in the first part of today's episode.
What happened?
Ayo has a floating mic. He's always, he chips in from the background to give an opinion or a word of wisdom.
Can I share with you something quite interesting? In 2017, I decided to take a group of young filmmakers with me to guess where? To Rwanda.
Wow.
Now,
from where?
From Perth. So I put an ad on LinkedIn saying, guys, I need filmmakers, storytellers to come with me to Rwanda. I'll pay for their accommodation and food.
Wow. Wow.
I just want you guys to pay for your own ticket. We're
Lovely.
going to be doing a very exciting short docu. It's available on our YouTube channel, and it's about how Rwanda is clean.
Yes.
What's the first thing to a lot of people come to their mind when they hear about Rwanda?
Of course, genocide.
The first thing.
Yeah.
We took 6 months to do training.
Wait, let me say
Yeah,
something
yeah.
about that. One second. I was on a previous podcast like a year and a half ago, so on another podcast we had built with a friend of mine. Shout out to Slim. We actually had some Rwanda people come onto the podcast, and they're in their own right. They were high achieving, student after student level, like student into professional, and the episode lasted over an hour.
Yeah.
In I kid you not, in the last 20 minutes, we double clicked on the Rwanda, because these are people from there.
Yeah.
Right.
And we wanted to hear. Linda, I remember some time ago you had said it would be great to hear from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
We always hear stories we watch on TV.
Yeah, no,
and
we
so
want to
on.
hear it from
I'm
you.
telling you, I could be the ambassador for Rwanda. The way I love that country.
They made us cut the last 20 minutes of the whole podcast episode,
Yeah.
saying that in as much as they were open to talk about it, they were not
Yes.
open to talk about it
Yeah.
publicly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And we have
So
faced those challenges.
So even
this
from
couch.
our experience here, on this couch, we have experience where people, later on come back and say, cut.
Yeah.
So when you're
Too
saying
political.
that you're representing, or you hold a space where which you could kind of tell a different story,
Yeah.
from the horse's mouth, from my experience personally, it's still very contentious.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
are your thoughts on Rwanda and the Rwandese people, or your experiences in Rwanda?
You see, I came with a completely different mindset. A lot of people could talk about Rwanda in so many different.
What was your mindset?
Mindset?
Genocide.
But personally,
Yes.
when I've seen my friend went to Rwanda for a holiday,
Yes.
I said, "Where are you?" And he said, and I thought he was somewhere in Melbourne. He said,
Right.
"Elmi, I'm in Africa." I said,
Nice.
"Can you please show me where in Africa you are?"
Yeah.
And he showed me the video, and I couldn't believe this place exists in Africa. I was ignorant about it. And I said, it's worth to visit. I need to go and visit it. And I went there before, like in 2015. But then again, in 2017, I decided to take a group of filmmakers with me.
Yeah, so how was that?
2 of them decided to move there for good.
Whoa.
Did you hear me, Captain?
Wait, say that one more time.
Yeah, that's not good. Okay.
No,
Amazing.
wait. Say
Yeah.
that one more time.
I took a group of filmmakers with me to Rwanda.
Yeah.
They have the same perception like anyone else
Yeah.
about
Yes.
Rwanda.
Yeah.
When they arrived in Kigali
Yes.
and stayed there for a couple of days,
Yes.
one of them said to me, Elmi, and she's a white woman from Karata.
Yes.
She said to me, "You know what, Elmi? Probably this is going to be the place for me. I'm going to live for the rest of my life,
You mean he?
permanently."
You mean him?
Here,
He
here.
resided there.
She.
permanently?
Yeah,
She.
she.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I said,
that's
She is residing there.
yeah, until
permanently.
now.
Wow.
And I said to her, "Why?" She said, "There is something in this country speaks to me."
Wow.
And she said to me, "I have no idea what it is. And for a black guy to go back to Perth and a white woman to stay, that's a big thing."
Damn. Oh, she was white.
There's no center in Rwanda.
Huh?
She was white.
She's
Okay,
yeah,
I missed that
Is
part.
she's a white woman.
Sorry,
She's
not
not
white.
Yeah.
dead yet.
Beg your
So we've done a
White.
doco in the schools. We've done a documentaries there about how clean Rwanda is, and this is what was my focus is. I wanted to connect from an artistic point of view and connect with other artists about
Of
what we have in
course.
common.
Of
Let's not talk
course.
politics. Let's see. And she came with a fantastic, we used to do a program called using a banana leaves to create stories.
Right.
So we done a story about how Rwanda is clean through an African family, but we created through an animation.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
artistic.
So we found that what we have in common is creative content. And that's the way, forget about politics, but
Yeah.
she came up with so that's the purpose of my visit to Rwanda, and take those artists with me. It just really defeat that kind of stigma.
So what was their purpose of putting their hand up to say, "Hey, I want to go"?
they just want to experience a different place.
Yeah.
Now, when you say they, were they predominantly white?
Yeah, they're all white. Yeah. So we had a white
Australians?
woman and we had an indigenous woman.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How did the indigenous find it?
It's so interesting. We went to the Genocide Museum in Kigali, and there was a
Museum?
in
There's museums everywhere now.
yeah,
Yeah,
that-
but
Oh, you mean
genocide
in Rwanda.
Wow.
Yeah, probably one of the biggest museum,
Yeah, you
the
should-
genocide
What do they
museum,
have there? Photos of dead people?
is a museum about the genocide that took place in '94.
I mean, there's museums
Yeah.
of even slavery.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Zanzibar and so
Yeah.
on and so forth. So yeah, history has
Rwanda came a long way, a long way.
very long way. Yeah, I'm curious about the indigenous, obviously, because we shared the same
Yeah.
color. And we've also been through similarities in the way of
And they,
you know, the history in the past.
and they have an indigenous Australian indigenous story at the museum
Wow.
Yeah. You couldn't
In
believe-
Kigali.
in Rwanda, in Kigali. Brother, you gotta go
Okay.
there and
Hey,
yeah.
now I'm interested in
Ex-
this.
exactly.
Kigali.
Yeah, the
Oh,
cleanest.
watch out for
Let me just finish.
crime
The
Yeah.
cleanest country in
Yeah.
Africa.
Cleanest
Country in Africa by far. They have something called Uganda. Every Thursday of the last month, the president go and he cleaned the sewage there.
Amazing. He puts his
Yeah.
own hands.
I remember when I was all African presidents could should walk
listen,
and learn. Listen.
I beg. Oh, lovely, but that's just the cities. People always, give hoo-has about, have you seen the airport? Have you seen this? But once you enter.
I'm talking about. I'm talking about 3 hours from Kigali.
They are still
Every
clean.
schools have a 3-course meal. All the kids' school they have shoes to go to school with. This is Rwanda, brother.
I love it.
Well, let
I
him retell the story.
You tell the story.
Yeah, he can. Right now, Elmi.
And I've got no
you
dogs
have-
in this fight.
you
I'm
got
just saying it.
almost a little bit of some kind of poetic license to retell the story, because this, what we're doing here, on Nugget Junction and so on, it'll surpass all of us will be. It's long gone. It's going to go online. It'll be on cyberspace.
Yeah.
At least there will be this voice.
Exactly.
The personality behind the voice
Yes,
may
exactly.
be Elmi in the
Yes.
physicality here and now, but that message or that perception, which all of us, honestly, I'm not
Yeah.
believing it's the cleanest country, but you
Oh, you don't believe that? You
No
only need
way.
to. You've been referring to Google. Please go to Google.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Guy, Professor Google.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just before you go into Google, let's have a small
Should
bit. Okay, so
Let's have a
small
yeah,
bit.
let's have a make it interesting. This is how
Okay.
confident I am.
Yes,
so,
let's
yeah.
go.
But I don't embarrass you in front of them.
Okay, go. What's the bet?
I'm gonna put
Plastic money in it?
$50.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me that $50 for
I can't remember that people still carry cash, but yeah, we pay by EPOS.
You're firing him.
And I can't remember the last time I carried $50 cash with
one
me.
of the best
Okay.
things
Yeah.
of income.
Well, you
Okay.
can't have a bit like this one if you didn't have cash, right?
Huh?
No, you can't give it on your left hand. That's bad luck.
Exactly,
Give me on
yeah.
the other hand.
Yeah.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's real, people.
Yeah. And $50 from me. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll send you
Plastic
by
money.
EPOS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna Google
And
here.
It's
Yeah.
literally plastic
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, that's the interesting part
Yeah.
about Australia.
Mhm.
I'm gonna Google the cleanest country
In Africa.
in
In
Africa.
Africa.
And
Don't lose your money.
for the sake of the $50, I'm gonna hope it's not Rwanda.
That's
He
Rwanda.
wants his money.
Um,
So are we sharing this 25?
Yeah.
what you're already
We're
profiteering?
already profiteering.
Since you checking it out, let me check it also.
Yeah, yeah.
Google gives different results.
Exactly.
Apple and what's
Yeah,
this
yeah.
other one? Android business. They
Okay,
give
cool.
different results. So let's have one or the other. What have you got?
Okay.
Tell me.
Let me
Is
see.
yours an Apple?
No, Samsung.
What's yours?
It's an apple.
Bam.
Ah,
Be
okay.
in. Let's go.
Okay.
Cleanest country in Australia.
Hey.
I want to keep my
Australia.
money. I
We're
want to keep
Australia.
my money.
now. Already clean.
Cleanest country in Africa. Oh man.
Am I right?
Oh no. It says
Siri, what's your secret? By the way, do you know what Siri means in Swahili?
Hmm?
It means secret.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if the reasoning behind them calling it Siri was.
Oh, I
it
see
is-
the
is he
the
telling you your
confusion.
Kigali is
No. Yes.
I am the judge. Bring
Okay,
both your
so-
phones here. I want to read it for myself.
So
Kigali
here's-
is the
could be
capital and
reading
largest city
anything.
of Rwanda,
Yeah.
the cleanest on the African
Kigali
continent,
is the
as well.
cleanest city on the African continent. Not Rwanda, the cleanest country.
Kigali. When I say Kigali, I'm talking about Kigali,
I've got the
Rwanda.
same result. Kigali. It's
Well,
Okay.
when I say
Kigali.
Rwanda, I
Same
mean
thing.
when I
Kigali,
refer, I'm talking about the
Rwanda,
capital
all
city.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah,
sorry, I thought you
yeah.
meant the cleanest country.
No. I'm talking about the cleanest
Cleanest city, yeah.
in the city, Kigali.
Okay, so-
Kigali is the cleanest city in,
Yeah.
in
So
on the
you
continent.
lose.
I don't lose because I was betting on country.
No, Kigali. I'm talking about Kigali.
You went to go change your status in
I
your head.
didn't.
Okay.
We are keeping this $50.
Yeah, okay.
I am not even giving it half.
Okay. So there's a bit of misunderstanding. But I was referring to the
Let
city.
me, for the purposes of the listeners who are not watching this, for the viewers, you're gonna see it maybe this side or this side after post production of this screen. But I'm gonna read out to you the first result. Rwanda. So the search query was the cleanest country in Africa, and the search result says Rwanda is one of the reasons why Rwanda is renowned in Africa is for its cleanliness.
Nice.
It's not a volunteer project. Police monitor the streets and stop Rwandans who are
Hallelujah.
participating
Exactly.
in making the place clean.
That's it.
So Rwanda is the cleanest country in Africa.
Right. He rests his case, do you?
I rest my case.
Now, moving on to
I always want to go to that restaurant.
which one?
You know, that $100
And there
will
goes my
go a long
$50.
way.
Amen. Afro-authentic is here.
Yeah.
That $50 can be utilized well.
Yeah, it will go.
Right.
Yeah, I'll invest it. Yeah.
Wink, wink.
So, Elmi, thank you very much.
Oh, by the way, sorry,
What
Elmi,
of-
I'll need a tax invoice for that.
Of course, I'll
So I
send
can
it.
claim it back as a business expense.
As business expense.
It was a consulting
Yeah.
It was a
activity.
consulting portion of the business, was it?
Awesome.
But do continue though. I did not know that Rwanda was clean in any way, in any sense. So
Yeah.
so it kind of echoes. It speaks to how important it is for some of these stories to sort of leach through the barrier, the social construct where we say Rwanda is. You know, because when you say the word, the other day we were here, we were talking to Lydia, if you remember, in another
Yes.
episode, and then I just kept on referring to her country in a.
Uganda. He's South African. He wouldn't understand anything East African.
It was just it was a train wreck. But the point is, it's important for us to be able, like for you would be, in my mind, you are the quintessential secret agent who went into enemy territory and came back with a story. For example, you
That's
would
a strong word, enemy territory.
I'm
know,
gonna change it.
right?
I'll
But I know-
rephrase it. I'll
yeah.
rephrase it because it's not enemy territory, we're African. But it's like you're one of the Canaanites who went there and then saw all these huge grasshoppers or something in Canaan, and then you come back and say, "Oh my God, these guys are giants," and then you're like, "No, but they're still human.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, we can still
Yeah,
take
yeah.
it on
Yeah.
because you had a story. You had an experience to the story.
Exactly.
It's not just listening to what today's world would be
Yes.
mainstream media. You had a physical presence in that place, and then you experienced it in your own way, and you're
Exactly.
able to tell the story based on your experience.
And I experienced it also from my own journey, being a Muslim, being a black person with a Muslim name. I know exactly the stereotype that has already been vilified against me from the time I
Exactly.
lived in the West. So
That's the
when
truth.
people do meet me, hopefully they, for example, when I go to prison in Banksia prison, I work with a lot of young indigenous guys, and this one indigenous boy said to me, "Hey, Elmi, I remember I was helping him with the cooking, and I
Helping
couldn't.
someone in Banksia prison to cook.
Yeah, we were doing a program there,
It's
Yeah.
all right.
But
Yeah.
continue, sorry.
and he said to me, Elmi, I had no idea why you're not eating, and I said, well, because I'm a Muslim, and it was Ramadan.
Right.
And he said, I had no idea, Elmi, that you're a Muslim. If I knew, none of my family will talk to you. So I guess what I'm saying is, I projected my character
Yes.
as a person of empathy, of understanding.
Exactly.
I was not preaching my faith to him.
Yes.
The only way I could preach is my empathy toward him and
Exactly.
supporting him.
Exactly.
So I could say the same thing about going to South Africa and the stigma attached to South Africa and
Exactly.
Zambia and all of those countries.
stigma is very
But there's a way that we could go beyond that and
Yeah.
go beyond our prejudice and tell the real stories.
Exactly. So you did mention that you are looking to go back
Permanently,
you
yes.
mentioned that?
Yeah.
permanently. What is your thought process on that? How did you come to this conclusion?
I think there's a personal reason, and there's obviously a professional reason. I mean,
Okay.
personally, obviously, my kids all grown up now, and
Yes.
and I was telling you earlier that for the first time, I guess the West doesn't have anything else to offer me.
That's
Although I'm very grateful, I learned a lot,
Yeah.
and it shaped me the person I am.
Yes.
So I want to really go back and give back whatever God allow me time to live in this world. So I really want to. I saw the opportunities there that I felt that I would love to be part of it, And
What kinds of opportunities?
And let me answer a bit of that before
Yeah.
you go ahead. One thing I've noticed, so I've been, for your purposes, Linda, I've been in the content creation game for a very long time. What I have noticed since AC, BC, since after COVID,
Yeah.
is after the lockdowns, during the lockdowns, we all became ourselves. We were exposed to ourselves. You're locked down at home. The only person that you're exposed is yourself.
Yeah.
You could be with your partner and so on, but you're really, because
Yeah.
you don't interact with the public as much as you did
Exactly.
before,
Yeah.
you only had yourself
Exactly.
more. And then we also found out that we are very interested in hearing what other people are going through.
Exactly.
Not necessarily what we can watch on TV as much as,
Yes.
say, for example, there's the war in Ukraine. I would
Yeah.
so love to hear from one Ukrainian
Yeah.
how all of that's
Yeah.
happening in their farm state.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
You know, so the advent of YouTube and Gab and all these other platforms that are coming
News
up, Brighteon, shout out to Brighteon TV, Brighteon.tv, all of those, it gives us the opportunity to tell personal stories.
Yeah.
So in my view, from my background, after 2019, I think the human being is more susceptible to personalized stories as opposed to group stories.
Right.
And then if you take it to the African context, I would tell you the truth. I cut my in my household, I cut the Netflix account.
Right.
I don't need to keep paying. I would rather go and watch a YouTube channel of someone who's doing something, say in Kigali, for example.
Yes, like what am
I would rather follow, like
amazing.
Wademaya, exactly.
Gosh.
Shout out to
Have you met
Wademaya.
Wademaya. I met Wademaya in Somaliland.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, I met him.
feeling you would have
And
known
yeah.
So the
Wademaya,
rise
what's up?
of
What's
a
up?
character, the rise of a character like Wademaya
Yes.
is his ability to tell personal stories,
Yes.
Yeah.
not just mainstream.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's been to several countries. He does
Putting
so many
Africa
stuff.
on the map.
Yeah.
But
Shout
the fact
out
that
to
he's
you.
able, amongst others, he's able to follow through with one storyline, a personalized storyline.
Yes.
It makes more people susceptible to listen and to watch.
And what I love
observe.
about him is a lot of his videos are simple without proper animation or he just do
Without
it in a
too
way.
much.
Yeah, the focus is on
Yes,
him
on
and other
him
people
and
on
what
and the
he's
other
trying
people.
to
Yeah,
His
broadcast.
interaction. It's
Yeah.
Wademaya and his
Exactly.
interaction with
when he came to Somaliland, he could not believe that this region of Somalia exists, and he
Wow.
said, "This is so peaceful."
Wow.
Yeah, he said, "I don't need any police protection. I could
yeah.
walk down the street." So having him in Somaliland increased the tourism in Somaliland
Yeah.
within the
Love
next
that.
month.
He
You
is
see,
putting Africa on
Yeah.
the
the
map.
ability to tell a story
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
location,
Yes.
Exactly.
the way it's happening.
Yeah.
Not mainstream media, which will give you a narrative.
Yes.
And that's not that's what we're trying to do. Or I could speak for
trying to
myself.
avoid.
Is I go directly to the stories. When we were in Togo, one of the stories that would reflect is the increased population that been affected by snakes bites
Wow.
in a small village there.
In Togo, in an
yeah,
island?
yeah, in
Where is
Togo,
that?
in Togo.
Wait, Togo is like a coastal country?
No,
Is it
it's,
not
yeah,
in
in
the
the coastal
west?
country, but there's a lot of we
It's
want.
like, wait, no, Togo is in Africa.
Yeah.
West
Oh
Africa.
God. Yeah.
Long story short, cut
Yeah.
that part out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can you
so-
cut that, please? Togo in Africa, of course.
No, but look, I'm not embarrassed about the fact that I don't know much about Togo.
No.
Yeah, but
Togo is
when
Africa.
you there's
I
a
am
difference
aware
between
of
I don't
that.
know, and there's a difference when you say I don't know that's in Africa. There's
Well,
a
it
bit
is
different.
in Africa.
Huh?
Yeah, Togo
No,
is
he
in
never
Africa.
said he doesn't know it's in Africa.
I didn't say it's
Ah,
not.
He's
okay.
correcting me as though I didn't know it's in Africa. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
However,
Hey, does
I
Fendi
am
know
trying
where
to
Togo
connect
is?
your story with before COVID, after COVID, with what I was
Yeah.
relating
Yeah.
or relaying to Mr.
Yeah.
Elmi.
Yeah.
My question was, why have you decided now I'm packing
Yeah,
my
the,
bags?
yeah, the packing of
I'm
your bags.
going.
Oh,
I was,
so-
I was going to go back to that one.
Yeah,
Let
can
me
you
let me
connect it,
conclude that
please?
part before you
Yeah.
answer. In my mind, right, it would be the fact that you alluded to the fact that the West doesn't have much to offer you. It's not as appealing as it was when you had younger or no kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
The fact that you're done with that part of your life, it makes the West less attractive, and that's fine. A lot of people have that sentiment.
Yes.
However, you don't want to go back to nothingness.
Right.
You recognize,
What do you mean nothingness? That's
as
deep.
in a lot of people would say, no, I need to build a house, have a place, income,
What,
yada yada.
what makes you think he hasn't
I-
done all
I'm
that?
just
Yeah.
said a lot. However, what I'm trying to conclude on that part is that you had an inspiration to leave.
Come through, please.
You now have an inspiration to go back.
Yeah.
Now, whilst you're going back, yes, you are now alleviated from all of the benefits of being in the West, but there's also a need, there's a space, there's a vacuum that you're going to occupy back home. You're not just going back home as a retired
No, not at
person.
all, not at all.
You're going back, you're literally going back to work.
Oh yeah.
Marie?
10 times more. I'll be 10 times more occupied than what I'm doing right
Than
now.
what you're doing here.
Yeah.
So it's the recognition of that need for
Yeah.
the work that you're trying to do.
And what triggered
What
me?
takes you back.
Yeah, and what triggered me is the community work that I'll be able to work there with.
Yeah,
But there's a very important point I want to raise is
sure.
that sense of community. I felt it when I was there.
Mm.
Everybody knows me. Everybody knows my father. Everybody knows my community and my
Yeah.
family. And that resonates with me differently.
Yeah.
I'm not saying...
Then from here, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's
Here
so
you're
different.
pretty
Yeah.
lonely out here.
Yeah. But you said something important, which is I have to be prepared. I'm not going to go there rely on my kids to send me money.
No.
I already got structured everything in
Yes.
place because I want to be self-efficient there
Yeah.
and walk there. So the last thing I want to do is to be a burden on someone.
Yeah, on someone else.
Yeah.
Because there is no one else you can
Yeah.
be better on.
Yeah.
Beg your pardon, guys.
Okay.
I've ordered some food. As you know, this is Afro-Authentic. We got to represent what we do here
Yes.
Okay.
whilst we're on the podcast. So please do continue on, but we are welcome to have a nibble
Thank you.
and fill our tummies. I don't like having guests without having them
Yeah.
looked after.
Thank you.
Marie. Don't be shy next time, my dear. Eh?
Mary, where she's from?
She's, where are you from, Marie?
Chile.
Chile.
South America. ¿Habla español? ¿Así? Todos mis amigos son españoles.
Hey, we have a Spanish man in the
Hey,
building.
floating
De
mic.
Somalia. ¿Conoces dónde
Floating
está
mic.
Somalia?
Ayo, we need to give her a
De
floating
Somalia.
mic.
¿Conoces dónde está?
Yeah, let's go to
Es en
his
África,
pool.
en el este de África.
Excuse
wait,
me.
Elmi,
How
one
are you?
second. 1 second. There's a mic there. Could you go
Oh,
there?
sorry.
Come this way.
Okay,
I
sorry.
beg,
She's not in the camera.
viewers. This is a whole other dimension to the story.
Yeah.
Now we're just going to practice my Spanish.
Just tell her in
Espanol.
Spanish that it's okay to be on a mic a little bit.
Go on.
Yeah, you can have a conversation.
¿Quieres hablar con nosotros?
No lo sé, realmente como que estoy muy ocupada ahora.
¿Qué?
Estoy ocupada en el
sí, ocupada.
restaurante.
Sí. She's busy,
estoy
she said.
atendiendo en el restaurante, entonces me gustaría sí, pero creo que por ahora no.
Sí.
Ask him how he knows how to speak Spanish.
In
¿Cómo
Spanish.
estás? Speaking
¿Cómo es? No sé. ¿Cómo estás
Ahora
tú?
mi español es muy mal.
Es muy malo.
Ahora,
Ok.
pero es una parte de mis asignaturas en la universidad.
Oh, ¿de verdad?
Sí.
Bueno, el español es súper fácil, pero me gustaría así poder, no sé, poder comunicarme más, pero como te digo, tengo que trabajar.
Sí. ¿Cuántos años está aquí?
¿Cuánto tiempo llevo trabajando acá?
Sí, trabaja aquí.
Hey.
How long
You're
have you
getting
been
into
working
it.
here?
Huh?
It's not be small
How long
team.
have you been working
Sí,
here?
sí,
How
sí.
long have you been here?
Yeah.
How long have you been working here?
Oh, here,
In Spanish, you don't have to speak English.
2 meses.
2 meses solo.
Sí, 2 meses.
Sí, ok.
Sí.
¿Quieres? ¿Te gusta?
¿Me gusta? Sí, sí me gusta.
Ah, ok. Yeah.
Diferente,
Okay.
diferente comida.
My Spanish is kind of like Finnish now.
I
Yeah,
love
he's
it. That's
done his
amazing.
vocabulary.
Thank you, Marie. Marie's
Thank
one of
you.
my
Okay.
stars.
Do you
Okay.
think my Spanish is okay?
Yes, it's very good.
Ah,
Spanish.
very good. Elmi.
Eres muy amable.
Oh,
igualmente tú.
Yeah.
Igualmente
It's one
tú.
of the most easiest languages to learn.
How did
Yeah.
you even get into it?
You know why?
Gracias.
Yeah,
Because
Ayo,
I do
just
speak-
those
Thanks,
gracias.
Because I do speak Arabic.
Ah.
I learned Arabic, and Arabic is very similar to
So
Spanish.
what got
Spanish.
you into it?
It was part of
Why
my.
would you ever need to learn
Yeah.
Spanish? to
It's
that
so.
extent?
You see, you got to. I've done marketing.
Yes.
And one of the language you have to pick up is either German as a substitute.
wow.
So I decided to go with Spanish.
Oh,
and you know what? We have to encourage our kids to speak other languages.
That's so true.
You know, and it opened doors for me.
What other national language do you speak?
Somali. I speak Somali, which is our native language.
Nice.
Yeah, and obviously Arabic also. I learned Arabic and
Very
yeah,
nice.
Yeah. So.
Well, a lot of Somalis do speak Swahili. Do you speak Swahili?
Yeah, no, but I didn't know that Congo. You guys do speak.
Yes, I think over the last maybe 20, 30 years,
Yeah, yeah.
obviously it's traveling through from the east, but we try to make it as natural as we can on the podcast. So we were discussing Kigali. Oh, no, my question was, what made you just decide, hey, I'm packing up and going? You've said that
Yeah.
there's nothing else here for you. And I'm finding that a lot of Africans in the diaspora, as you said now, are doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
they're going back home to build the nations.
I was
They are
inspired by them.
They bring all the
Yeah.
experience and the expertise that they have gained from the Western world and taking it back home.
Yeah.
And trying to build Africa. And I think that's amazing. And very ballsy, if I can put it that way, to be in a particular society for 20 years plus, you know, and starting fresh. Where I was a bit, you know, where I questioned is when Cranston said, going back to nothingness. I didn't understand what do you mean by nothingness? Do you mean we don't have much in Africa, or you have to set up yourself first back home? I think that's where the conversation was. That setting yourself.
Let me answer that categorically. First of all, I just want to say to the viewers, no, I'll start with the listeners. You can't see the chicken we're eating. These are chicken wings, courtesy of Afro Authentic Cuisine. Really good stuff. They have their own style of making it, and it's delicious. Delicious. However, in answering your question, I think if somebody has a memory of nothingness, I'm not going to say if someone comes from nothingness or they come from
or do you mean
sleeping
Africa
under a bridge.
Doesn't have nothing?
Yeah.
Is
No,
that what
that's
you
why I
meant?
don't want to say that. I don't want to say it that way. But if someone has some kind of interaction or memory of lack, the one thing they will avoid, say if they came to the West and they're planning to go back, they want to avoid the lack.
Yeah.
Or what they
course.
felt or what they think is lack. Their version of lacking. A lot of people would be, you lack accommodation, you want to sort that out. You lack a source of income, you want to sort that out before you go. You want to have some kind of retirement package so that you got some money. But my view is those are still Western constructs.
Yeah.
What you're actually going back to is the community that you didn't
Exactly.
have while you were in the West.
Yeah.
And that community, the feeling of being a part of something, being part of a group, being part of a family unit, an extended family unit, is worth more than any amount of retirement package that you can want or any amount of house that you can build.
Yeah.
You could build a 7-story house in the heart of Kigali and still live on your own.
Yeah.
It won't amount to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a lot of the diaspora people do in going back, what they're really following is that very rare sense of what the floating mic Ayo in the back here, the producer, what the nickname producer, what he calls Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
You want to go back to a place where you actually matter,
Yes.
where you count.
Back to your roots.
Whether
Yeah.
you've got money or you
Back
don't,
to your
you don't have money.
connection.
Yeah.
Whether you've got connections or not, but you
Yeah.
count. And I can give a quick example of a lot of the time here in the West, I want to go and do stuff. I'm a consultant by trade. If I want to go and do things, I have social constraints that will stop me because I don't have a maid. I don't have a babysitter.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
afford one,
Yeah.
but it'll be equal for equal.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
literally
yeah.
work for my babysitter.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas in Africa or back home, there's aunties, there's cousins, there's
Exactly.
a whole
Even your
plethora
neighbor
of
now.
people, even neighbors.
Yeah.
Do you remember a time when you would go missing from your own home and go play around with the neighborhood
Yeah.
kids and come back at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Do you also remember how your parents didn't worry that you'd be dead?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember
Yeah.
the time
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're so dirty.
Yeah,
They'll be like, "Oh my God, look at how filthy!
Those are the
Go
best
back."
things.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they worried about.
Yeah.
How dirty you are when you come
Yeah.
back.
Because everyone is your uncle. Everyone is your
That's
cousin.
the community.
Yeah.
It
You know,
speaks to the
environment.
adage:
Yeah.
"It takes a village to raise a
Yeah.
child."
Literally.
And that's what I've seen back home. But I've also something quite interesting is for me to bring my Western mindset to Africa, I need to be appreciative.
Of course.
I need to understand the social economic aspect happening in my
Yes,
community.
yes.
I should not coming in as a bully
Of course.
and
not.
say, you know what? For example, when we were in Togo, when we done this filming about the increased death of snakes,
Right.
we spoke with some of the elders, and they say, you know what? Who are you to telling us? This is one of the elders. Yeah, because she said we've got our own remedy. Our
Wow.
own traditional remedy is 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But we were there just to tell the story. So what I'm saying is, going back to Africa, I have to be flexible and
Yes.
transparent about
Yes.
what I'm about to experience. I'm going to be
Exactly.
facing a lot of challenges.
Exactly.
But I'm going to be there. What my brother said here is to help my community. One of the ideas I have is we're building a community garden there where it's going to be self-efficient. How many times that while we're here in Perth, we receive a call back home saying, can you send us $100, $200?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that mindset saying, you know what, I've got this concept that I would love to develop. So for us, it's called generation wealth. Hopefully, that we're gonna be increasing more and more.
Amen.
So the aspect of me going back there is not just to sit down in my $80 seat and just do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be extra busy, and I've always been a person like that. I want to have a purpose for me, for my life.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when we leave things, we don't leave commodity. Commodity comes and go.
Yeah.
We leave values. My daughter was with me in Somaliland, volunteering with me. We used to go to their local hospital every morning, volunteering and bringing food to them, because I want to enrich that aspect of my kids. Saying, you know, volunteering is very important.
Exactly.
It connects you and it humbles you.
It does.
Yeah. So that's something that is really quite important for me. I've always been passionate about. But yeah, I'm going there with a very open-minded. I'm gonna be going there, and this is something I'm really, for the first time, I felt I'm excited to go back home.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Crankston, are you thinking to go back home anytime?
I've been thinking
anytime
I've been.
You mean
planning-
Maribuka?
I've been-
Exactly.
I wish.
That's what I saw you last time.
I've never stayed north of the river, but that's another story for another day.
Oh yeah.
dear.
Oh, you prefer the dirty south, is it?
And the
Well-
dirty south. I love it.
Dirty South refers to a United States social construct. There's nothing dirty about southern suburbs.
dirty.
Yeah.
in
Just
Perth.
yeah.
However, though, in conclusion, we'd like to thank you so much for coming to the
Thank you so much.
to the couch. Personally, for myself, I'd like to say that I've been very judgmental of a lot of the stuff that Roots TV has been doing.
Really?
That's
Can you
my
give an
own-
example?
No, I will not give you an example because we're winding up the show.
Okay.
However, having sat with you on the couch and talked about the stories, what we've managed to do for me in this conversation, including with Linda, my co-host, is to connect. The West does not allow you to connect with people. We are too busy with so much
Yes.
stuff to do.
Yep.
And a lot of the stuff is transactional. Hi, how are you? What do you do? How much is it? Let's do it.
Move on. Yeah.
You know, and having sat down and talked about what we've discussed in part 1 and part 2 of this episode, has reminded me of how grounded we really should be. The privilege that we have, the black privilege that we have as African diaspora people out here in the West, is that we've got a two-factor system. We can consider ourselves in the Western context, and we can also consider ourselves in an African, in a back home
Exactly.
context.
We've got the best of both
A
worlds.
lot of people around the globe don't have that privilege. In another podcast, we highlight that as African privilege.
Yeah.
We have that privilege. Now, what you've been talking about and what you've been expressing is an exemplification of African privilege, to the point where which, unlike, say, a Western person who will end up in a nursing home, and what they can do with their retirement money is to get an expensive retirement home as opposed to a cheap one.
Yeah.
What we have, the privilege we share, is that we can have our retirement home all the way back home, like proper home,
Yeah, exactly.
which is not a retirement home, but it's going back home.
And
Yes,
be
exactly.
proactive.
And being
For
proactive
sure,
about
for
it.
sure.
Yeah.
By all means. I mean, off mic during the break, you and Dr. BC, who didn't come on camera today, she's been on a previous episode.
Hi, Dr. BC.
We're talking about the true colors.
Yeah, true colors. Yeah.
Which we will discuss further in follow-up episodes.
Yeah.
But that black privilege should be accentuated in this episode.
Power to the people.
Power to the people. Thank you guys for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really lively. Lively or lovely?
Yeah, lovely
It
and
was
lovely.
Lovely seeing you again.
Thank you.
From me
People
thinking I've never met.
People re-met each other on
Yeah,
the
I mean, I introduced
episode.
the show saying I've never met you, but let us know what about. Little
Guess
do
what?
I know. So God is good for that. He's kept you well. He's kept your family well. Same with my own. Thank you so much for coming in and being on this platform with us. Again, it connects with what we are also trying to
Exactly.
to put out there.
Yeah.
So you're the man for that. So thank you so much for showcasing yourself, your family, your work, your future. Best of luck moving back home.
Thank you so much. Really quite excited
When
about this.
we are ready to come back home, we're gonna holler at you in Somaliland, and wherever you think wherever you will end up residing.
Actually, I'm doing something quite exciting in my LinkedIn friends.
Yes.
When I move there, settle there, my house is really in the process of getting finished by December of this year.
Nice.
I'm going to do a very exciting challenge. I'm going to invite 3 of my friends, my LinkedIn friends, ticket paid for, to come and visit me in my own homeland.
I am
LinkedIn
befriending
friends
you right now. Hey,
You're not part of the
guys.
LinkedIn friends.
Yeah.
He wants to give people
How?
who don't. Are you trying to give people who don't have opportunities to that?
Not only
as
that,
such?
I
Or just
want to
anyone
invite
and
people because
everyone?
the bigger picture for me is I want to change that narrative about what people say about Africa, especially an unrecognized state like Somaliland, which is very peaceful, which is very unique of itself. So this is going to be my challenge to everyone. So we're going to do a special podcast when you arrive in Somaliland. You're going to meet my family. You're going to meet everybody there.
Going back to the roots.
We're going to go and we're going to do camel milk there. We're going to enjoy it.
Do they still do it with by hand?
By hand,
Or they
exactly.
don't push
Yeah.
all
I'm
the-
going to take you
the
to deep
machines
Africa,
there?
brother.
Amen.
Yeah.
Hey, me, I'm looking forward to that free plenty game.
Exactly.
I've
Yeah.
heard- I've
Well,
seen
first of all,
Elmi,
you
we're going to show that on the podcast.
exactly.
I have a photo of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
there you go,
We'll start by
post-production.
adding that $50 into the account.
Yeah, that goes to the funding.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine. I've got nothing to say. I lost it, so I can't say anything about that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you so much, guys. Really enjoyed it. Thank you. Really.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
as well.
For the
Thank you,
viewers and
guys.
listeners, thanks for being with us on this very interesting road trip that we've had today.
Indeed.
Elmi is a very interesting personality. We will have him back again
Very strong
later
personality.
because we would like to check out these stories that he's developing with in conjunction with the Dutch Welle or Dutch
Dutch Welle,
World
yeah.
in English. And we'll showcase we'll premiere a few of those clips
Yes.
on the podcast so that you can get to see what he's been talking about.
Yes, exactly right.
Thanks for listening up
Thanks for
until this
listening,
part
guys.
2. Look forward to hosting you again to the next episode. Till then.